Department of Education strategy to grow integrated education here has been called an action plan with no action. Those are the words of Integrated AlumNI, which is an organisation representing former pupils from integrated schools.
The department has a new legal obligation to give more support to integrated education after MLAs voted in favour of a new law in one of the last acts before the Stormont Assembly was dissolved in March.
Yeah, following this, the department was required by the Integrated Education Act, as it's called, to produce a strategy or an action plan to show how it would grow integrated education. And that strategy has now been published. Well, Lise McCaffery is from Integrated AlumNI. I take it that you're not a fan of this strategy.
I think that you've reflected that really well. An action plan with not a lot of action. It's been 12 months since the Integrated Education Act was passed. Within it, it had suggested targets and benchmarks such as percentages of pupils granted or denied access to their choice of an integrated school, or the number of schools transforming into integrated status. But none of these appear in the strategy. And for many families not able to access their primary or post-primary places, in particular in integrated schools, this will be seen as a huge disappointment.
But it's been 12 months without a government, so is it really that surprising that the strategy isn't as fully fleshed out as you would like?
Yes, no, I can appreciate, I think, not having that political input and overseeing the strategy has impacted on that. We've also got concerns on timeline, not just the content. So 12 months since the Act was passed, the implementation group has only met a handful of times. I think we've discussed after this a short consultation questionnaire will be available, but actually the change to this week document, an action plan, won't happen before October 2024. So again, it really feels like a snail's pace approach and in stark contrast to both the demand from families for access to integrated education, but also, thinking more recently, the incredibly vocal support from British, Irish and American leaders recently in the last 3 weeks for integrated education.
Yeah, but you'll know yourself that it faced a lot of opposition, the Act, back in March of last year when it came through. There were, from the main churches, the DUP. There was a lot of protest. So it's all very well, I suppose, people here would say for people to come in from other jurisdictions and say this is what we should be doing, but it's very different on the ground. 15 actions the Department of Education said they were going to undertake, but the strategy doesn't set targets for growth, does it, of pupil or school numbers? And kind of crucially, I thought, it doesn't specify how much money the department's going to spend. And I wondered, Lisa, if you are concerned ahead of a budget we know that is going to be harsh, if this is going to be one of the things that maybe doesn't make it over the line for money.
Yeah, exactly. I think, well, as well as the amounts of money going for the implementation phase, which is really worrying, we also know, just thinking about budgets more broadly, the cost of having this divided education system. Last year it was 226 million, the Ulster University report. So on a broader sense, having divisions in our education system is costing us lots of money. It's definitely worrying that I think in the draft it was talking about £20,000 and then in the published version £50,000. But yeah, exactly how when a budget allocation will happen and we'll actually see any of these actions starting to take place. It is really, really worrying.
Why are you so passionate about this? Why are you in this group, Integrated AlumNI? What was your experience of integrated education?
Yeah, and just probably important to point out, we're a charitable network of past pupils and supporters of integrated education. So my parents were founders of Hazelwood Integrated Primary and Secondary School in 1985. And my first day of Primary 1 was the first day of Hazelwood Integrated Primary School. So we have this network of people who are really passionate. We've seen the difference that integrated education can make. And we work on our own time to try and promote the expansion of integrated education to meet parental demand. It really just comes down to we've seen the differences between ourselves and others, especially when we got to university, in terms of our societal awareness, being able to accept and see different perspectives. And I think for the future of children in Northern Ireland, this feels like a really important step towards a lasting peace and reconciliation.
It's good to talk to you. Thanks very much for being with us this morning. That's Lise McCaffery, who is from Integrated AlumNI.